If you are a real estate agent thinking about buying leads, just stay with me. Guys, Zillow is not a strategy, it is a leash. Every paid lead that you buy serves as a reminder that you are not actually building a business. You are renting your future from a platform that can turn it off whenever it decides. And before somebody jumps into the comments and says, well, I just closed a Zillow lead last week. Just relax. I know that paid leads can close. Back in 2019, online leads were a huge part of my team's business, and we absolutely crushed it. But that was 7 years ago. And no, I'm not bitter. Well, maybe just a little bit, but I understand the game. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 5 ways that buying real estate leads can hurt your business, especially if you are solo. Let's go. Number 1, you are outsourcing demand. When you buy leads, you are not creating demand. What you're doing is you're buying access to someone else's demand that they've captured. Lead generation is not some little side activity that you only do when you feel like it. It's the literal heartbeat of your business. If you do not know how to create conversations, you don't really have a business yet. When a platform owns consumer attention, they own the search traffic, the intake, and the handoff, not to mention the rules. You are paying to stand near the machine. Now the question becomes, can that create transactions? Well, of course it can, but transactions are not the same as business ownership. That's where agents get seduced by lead flow. They think if they could just get more leads, they would be fine. But more leads don't automatically create a better business. If leads are coming in from a machine that you don't own, they own your boots on the ground. That means you own absolutely jack shit. And that can change at the drop of a hat. Think about it. They can wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden decide that the economics of their business model don't make sense anymore. And what are you going to do about it? Complain? Cry about it on the internet? Nope. What you're going to do is you're going to keep paying them more money. That is what we call priceless control. So here's a practical takeaway. Before you buy leads, ask yourself one honest question. Are you using it to supplement the business that you're building, or are you using it because you don't actually have one yet? If buying leads is the only way you know how to create opportunity, then you are not building demand, you are renting it. Number 2, you are confusing access with ownership. Let me ask you a question as simply as possible. If your credit card declines tomorrow, do you still have a business? That question should make some people uncomfortable because a paid lead source can give you access to an opportunity, but that access is not ownership. You don't own the rules. All you've got is access. That's it. Access can be useful, but access is fragile. That is why I hate what Zillow represents. It's not because every agent who buys a Zillow lead is stupid. That's not what I'm saying. I hate what it represents because it trains agents to believe that the consumer belongs to the platform and the agent should just be grateful to buy their way back into the conversation. Guys, that is ass backwards. You got into real estate to build something, to actually take ownership over your time and your relationships and your income. You got into real estate to build a life by design, not become a subcontractor for an algorithm. And when your business depends on the platform that you don't control, you are basically building a rented storefront on someone else's land. At some point, it probably does look like a business and it's probably going to make some money. But the second the rent changes, you realize how little control you actually have. So here's a practical takeaway. Run every lead source through the ownership test. What part of it do you actually own? The audience, the database, the follow-up system? Do you even own the relationship? Can you generate the opportunity again without paying the same gatekeeper? If the answer is no across the board, be careful. That does not mean you can never use the source. It means that you know what role it plays. A paid lead source can be a lever, but it cannot be the foundation. If the only way to keep the business going is to keep paying the gatekeeper, you don't own it. What you own is a subscription. Number 3, you are paying before you can convert. This one is probably going to annoy some people, but it needs to be said. A lot of agents have no business buying leads yet. Not because you're bad at being an agent, and it's definitely not because you're not capable, but it is because your follow-up system is a complete mess. You don't call fast enough. you don't know what to say when the call actually happens. So like, what happens 6 months down the line when they still haven't taken your call? Also, what happens like directly after the call? Do you call them right back after they've hung up on you? Or are you just going to give up and say, well, that person was probably just getting click happy on the internet? Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the leads that you're getting, even when they're paid, are complete trash. I'm not here to pretend that every lead is some golden opportunity sitting there waiting for the perfect agent. Some of them are just god awful. But sometimes the lead is not the only problem. Sometimes the agent is the leak. And paid leaks do not fix a broken follow-up system. They make the leak more expensive. That's what I learned working online leads. The money was not just in the lead. The money was in the response speed, the scripting, the follow-up, the long-term nurture, and the re-engagement. And where it got the highest ROI was in the discipline to keep working the people that other agents had already quit on. That's why we converted leads out of what I called the pond. Let me just explain what I mean by the pond real quick. When you receive a lead, you pick up the phone and let's just say, for example, you don't get anywhere with that person on the other line, right? You might use all of your discipline, all of your script practice, all of your training to actually get that person to convert to a showing or a buyer consultation, but for one reason or another, they just don't convert. Let's also say that you receive a lead and they don't even pick up the phone, or they say that they didn't actually really want to see that house in the first place. Now, I've gotten those and frankly, I don't believe them half the time. All of those leads at some point, they need to go somewhere. They need to go on an automated drip system. They need to go on some follow-up system so that you remember to stay in touch. Now, that is what we call the pond. And like I said before, the pond is not some magical place where everyone goes that gets automatically converted. Those are the leads that you do have to work week after week, month after month. Those are the leads that every other agent out there completely gives up on. So before you start just throwing money at paid leads, audit your conversion machine. Number 1, can you convert quickly? Number 2, do you know what to say? Number 3, do you have a follow-up cadence? Number 4, do you know where every lead goes? AKA, do you have a pond system? And finally, can you track every lead source status and next action? If the answer is no, don't buy leads yet. Fix your machine. Because if you cannot convert the people already in your world, buying more strangers is not going to turn you into a business owner. It's just going to give you more people to ignore. Number 4, you are training yourself to chase instead of build. This is one of the most dangerous parts of paid leads, dependency, because it does not always feel dangerous in the beginning. At first, it feels productive. Say your phone buzzes, a lead comes in, and you just drop everything and you call that person immediately. You try to get that person on the phone before they lose interest. Yes, speed to lead definitely matters. I'm not saying it doesn't, but let's be honest about what kind of business that creates if it becomes your entire model. You start living in constant reaction mode. You're taking calls at the grocery store. You're stepping away from dinner. You're answering notifications like the portal is your boss. You're chasing random buyers, random locations, random price points, timelines, motivations, and random quality. And then you wonder why your business feels chaotic. Well, of course it feels chaotic. You're letting the lead source define your business model. That's not a direction. What that is dependency. A real business needs direction. What market do you want to be known in? What client do you want more of? What price point makes sense for your business? Those questions matter because if you never answer them, the platform will answer them for you. You may not like the answer. This is where I still believe one of the old MREA principles is incredibly useful. For those of you who don't know, MREA stands for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, a book published by Gary Keller, what I lovingly refer to as the Red Bible. This book references things like build your business prospecting based and marketing enhanced. When you're building your business that way, that means you learn how to create conversations. You learn how to follow up. You learn how to build relationships. You learn how to create demand. Then over time, you build marketing assets that you own. Your database, local brand, social media, YouTube channel, community relationships, business to business relationships, your events, your referral network. Those are assets. They're not just lead sources. They are pieces of the machine that you actually own. So here's a practical takeaway for you. Before you pay for demand, define your direction. Then evaluate your lead sources against that direction. If a paid lead source supports that direction, fine. If it pulls you into more chaos, stop calling that growth. If it makes your business less yours. Number 5, you are avoiding the work of building your own machine. And this is the real issue. The real issue is not Zillow. The real issue is the agent who buys leads because building their own business and lead generation system feels too hard. Prospecting is hard. So then an agent might just say, oh, I'll just buy leads. And I totally get it. The appeal for that is obvious. You enter your credit card and the lead just shows up and it feels like you skipped the hard part. But you didn't actually skip the hard part, you just delayed it because you still have to follow up. You have to convert and build trust. You actually still have to be good on the phone. You still have to become the agent that someone wants to hire. Buying the lead does not remove the work. It just moves the work into a more expensive starting line. That's why I don't want this video to turn into the never buy a lead video. That's just way too simple. The real point is this. Don't use paid leads as a hiding place. Don't use them to avoid doing the work that turns the license into a business. Because if you never build your own machine, you will always be vulnerable to the machine that you rent. And that is the part that agents need to hear. If your business depends on a platform you don't control, you are not free. You might be busy, you might be closing deals, and you might even be making money, but you are not free. Because the cost can change. So can the rules, the quality, and the volume, even the platform. Your business just has to absorb it. That's not freedom. So here's the practical takeaway. Build your business on direction, not dependency. Pick one owned lead generation lane, not 5, just one. The tactic matters less than the ownership. And if you still want to buy leads while you build the machine, then fine. I'm not here to slap your credit card out of your hand, but do not confuse the paid lead source with the business. Use it as a lever. Do not let it become your identity. So let me be very clear as we wrap this up. Paid leads are not evil. Dependency is expensive. If you can convert paid leads and use them as a supplement while you build your own machine, run that play. But if buying leads is the only thing keeping your business afloat and it's keeping you from learning how to generate your own opportunities, then it is not a strategy. And it is not why you got into real estate in the first place. You got in this to own something, to create your own freedom. You got in it to own your time, your relationships, and your schedule. So stop building your business around a machine that you don't own. Build your own.